right, we still have 1 minute. Just trying to get everybody settled. I'm Holly.
Oh, Holly, John, Christine.
Nice to meet you. All right, good evening. If y'all can come on in and find your seats, and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, well, I want to start off by welcoming you to tonight's community meeting, and thank you for taking time to come out and join us either here in person or online. We also appreciate the high school for letting us host the meeting here tonight. And I also just want to express just the gratitude for the support that this community has shown all of us while we've been here. It's been really amazing to see, even in the hardest times, people just trying to find little ways and big ways to help out and show other people that they care. It's just wonderful to see the best in humanity, even when the worst circumstances are going on. So we have a great lineup of speakers for you tonight to provide an update of the current situation and answer any questions that you have. If you're online, you can drop questions in the chat at any time, and we have people on hand to answer those questions as quickly as possible. And for those of you in the room, we'll have breakouts afterwards where we have all of our speakers and also some additional guests available to answer questions or connect you to resources if they don't have the answers to your questions here tonight. So before we get into our speaking agenda, I'm just going to mention the folks that we have here that, like I said, will be available afterwards if you have questions. And they're going to raise their hands so you all can see them, so if you want to find them afterwards. So first, Mike Noakes, Chief of Spokane County Fire District 4. Tom Williams, Chief, City of Spokane Fire Department. Jack Hensley, Board of Fire Commissioners, Spokane Fire District 4. Dan Gardner, Board of Fire Commissioners, Spokane District 4. Representative of Michael Baumgardner, 5th District, U.S. House of Representatives. Representative of Rob Chase, 4th Legislative District, Washington State Legislator. Chris Jordan, Spokane County Commissioner, District 1. Josh Kearns, Spokane County Commissioner, District 3. Leonard Christian, Senator, 4th Legislative District, Washington State Legislator. Representative of Patty Kuderer, Washington State Insurance Commissioner. Washington Department of Natural Resources. Brooke Beeler, Washington State Department of Ecology, Regional Director, and the Environmental Protection Agency. So all of these folks will be available afterwards if you have questions for their specific area of expertise. And so with that, we will get started with our first speaker, Matthew Vinci, Fire Chief, Spokane County Fire District 9.
Okay. Good evening. Can you hear me okay? This mic working? All right. Good evening. As the introduction was, being your fire chief, I very proudly serve as your fire chief here in District 9. In Meade and across the district, 125 square miles that we protect 24/7, 365. From our hearts and thoughts, we are very deeply are with you for your loss. Your loss is our loss. This is personal to us. We're in the job of property conservation, life safety. And that's what we want to do every day when we put the uniform on and proudly protect and serve the district. And I need to acknowledge right out of the gate here our uniformed staff that are here, many that worked 40 straight hours on these 3 fires and did amazing work. And they're amazing humans. They put the uniform on every day to serve and protect you. And please join me in thanking them for their work. We have 3 elected commissioners here in District 9, and you're going to hear from our chair, Brian Mather, in a minute. We also have 2 of our other commissioners here, Greg Anderson, who served the district for many years as in uniform and is now serving as an elected commissioner, and Jim Bennett. So they are our elected officials that oversee the operations of the district. I'm going to talk a little bit about District 9 and the work that we do, just to kind of give you the geographic layout of the district and how these three fires, I know we're here talking about Autumn Lane. I'm not sure if we have others here that from Fairview. We talked about the Fairview fire the other night and Old Trails fire, but all three of these fires were in District 9. Old Trails had a portion in District 9 up on 5 Mile. That's where I live. I was evacuated, and my street also had a significant loss. Fairview Fire is all in District 9, and a large portion of the Autumn Lane Fire is in District 9, originating off of Charles Road and then cutting into Stevens County and District 4. And I'll acknowledge the work of all of our partners here in a minute. We provide emergency medical services from out on 9 Mile all the way to Forker, over 9,000 calls a year, fire and EMS calls from our trained professionals and our volunteers. I don't know if we have any of our volunteers here, but we had 71 of our 91 career staff recalled that day, and we had many of our volunteers out in their stations ready to serve and stayed on the front lines with us for over 40 hours. The days leading up, I want to talk a little bit about the days leading up to August 1st and the work that we did preparing, understanding that we had this particularly dangerous situation, the severity of this incident and this red flag that was being forecasted. And we were meeting with our regional partners, which we work every day across district lines, whether it be District 4, which we acknowledged earlier that's here, commissioners and my colleague, Mike Noakes, the fire chief there, or the city of Spokane. But we knew that we had a wind event coming and a severe event coming, and we staffed up across the district. And we met with all of our county resources, our county colleagues and chiefs, to have a strike team ready and to have resources available in case we had an incident. And did we think we'd have an incident of this magnitude? It was a monster that came that I don't think anybody could have seen coming. But I want to really acknowledge the work that was done on this particularly dangerous situation, this PDS day, prior to and the day of, as we had a strike team and work to prepare for resources. The City of Spokane Fire Department, District 10, District 4, Stevens 1, and District 9, since the Old Trails fire was dispatched, which came in at 11:57, all the way through the Fairview fire, which was dispatched at 14:07, 2:07 that afternoon, and then the Autumn Lane fire, which was dispatched at 15:22. The work that we did, along with all of our partners across Spokane County into Kootenai County, we have just remained together, working together since Saturday the 1st on all of these fires, and working with the wonderful group that's come in from California to assist us and support us. We have Team 7 members you're going to hear from California, Team 7. They were on the ground on Sunday. And I got to tell you, they are a very skilled, highly skilled group that has been through incidents of this magnitude. And our hearts and thoughts and appreciation go out to all those that came from across the United States to support us. You're going to hear the numbers, upwards of 2,000 firefighters from across the United States that supported us. But if you could also join me in thanking Team 7 for supporting us from California. We're here to be a continual conduit. We're here for the days, weeks, months, and years ahead. And I know the sheriff's going to talk about recovery and the work that we do with the sheriff's office on recovery and emergency management. But we will be your conduit to get your questions answered. We are problem solvers here at District 9, and we want to be there to continue to be your conduit to any of the questions that you have or the resources that are available, along with working with the sheriff and his team at emergency management. We also have kits available for cleanup kits This has been a success with recovery that we've been working with the American Red Cross. My tip of the hat to the American Red Cross. You're going to hear from Red Cross officials here. We have cleanup kits at Station 92 in Meade and Station 93 out on Charles Road right now available. So those were made available by the Red Cross, and it's a kit that has protective equipment in it, Tyvek suit, breathing protection, gloves, so that if you need to get near the site of your home, which is dangerous and remains dangerous, that you have the proper PPE on. This afternoon, we had a meeting with the Secretary of the Interior. He flew in, and Secretary Burgum and the 5 fire chiefs got together and had a conversation with the Secretary. And we talked about recovery. We've already started to talk about the fire dynamics, which you're going to hear about in a minute. But the federal response and the support from the incident management team is significant. But those first 40 hours are your local firefighters, your local fire stations, and we need to have the resources to sustain. Hopefully never this incident again, but a longer duration incident. We agreed that the federal government is going to hopefully come in and help us all with this and continue to help us, but we are your first line of defense for those first 24, 48 hours, and hopefully, again, we never have to go through this again, but it is incredibly, you're going to hear about some fire forecasting data about the suppression efforts, and if we didn't have the efforts in place, what could have taken place. But the men and women of District 9, District 4, all across Spokane County are your first line of defense. So, we appreciate all the support that you've given District 9. We're going to be here again for the days, weeks, and months ahead. We want to be your problem solvers. Our hearts and thoughts are with you for your loss. Your loss is our loss. And I will be here to continue to be your conduit to get those answers from any answers that you have and the resources that you need. And with that, I'll bring up our chair of our Board of Fire Commissioners, Brian Mather.
All right, next we have Brian Mather, Chair, Board of Fire Commissioners, Spokane County Fire District 9.
So welcome everybody. I've spent many hours driving through the fire areas over the past 10 days, and I have seen the devastation firsthand. I have friends who've lost homes in each of these fires, so these fires feel very personal to me. And my heart goes out to every family who's lost a home, property, or simply the sense of security that comes with knowing that you're safe in your own community. But as difficult as it is to see the destruction, I came away with a tremendous sense of hope. I've talked with our firefighters about what they experienced and what they were able to accomplish, and I'm incredibly proud of the work that they did and the number of homes that they were able to save. But I'm equally inspired by the people who live here. I've seen neighbors helping neighbors, people looking out for each other, and a community already beginning to come together. For those who have been directly impacted, the road ahead is going to take time, and there will be difficult days ahead. There will be a lot of work to do. But I want you to know something very clearly. You are not alone doing this. Fire District 9 is going to be here for you. So as you hear about the resources available to you, please know that we are only a phone call away. And if there's something you need, reach out to us. We may not always have the answer, but we will do everything we can to help you find it. So long after the emergency crews and outside agencies have left, it will be the people who live here who will continue to pick up the pieces and take care of one another. And Fire District 9 will be right here with you. So we are your neighbors, and we are part of this community, and we will be here for the long haul. Thank you.
Next we have John Knowles, Sheriff, Spokane County.
Thank you, and good evening. I'm going to start off by asking, by a show of hands, if you're comfortable, who in here lost a home during this incident? Okay, quite a few of you. I hope that what you get from us tonight is some information and some idea of what this recovery process is going to look like. You're going to hear firsthand from the firefighters on what happened 2 Saturdays ago. and the efforts that have been made to get us to where we are today. And, we do that so you can understand just exactly what your first responders were up against, what you as homeowners were up against as this incredible natural disaster tore through our city and through our county. We're not going to give you a whole lot of comfort because we can't do that right now. We're gonna tell you and promise you that we are going to get you every resource we can get you to help you get back to what normal looks like, get you back into a home. I mean, nothing will be the home that you lost. You can't recreate that. You have the memories, but you can't recreate the stuff, the mementos and things that were destroyed in this fire. But what we can do is help you build back to a new home. And that's our job, is to get all the resources assembled that you are eligible to get and get them in your hands. So for those of you who are here that were affected by this fire, I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, I'm glad that I can sit here and look you in the face and talk to you. Not every fire that we have that moves through neighborhoods like this, that burns homes down, leaves everyone alive. It is absolutely amazing that, as far as we can tell, everyone survived this that was in the path of this fire. And that's a big win. So, and I'll repeat, I'm glad that I get to see you face to face and talk to you. I will give credit to our citizens. Yes, our firefighters did miraculous work. Our law enforcement officers from across the county did miraculous work knocking on doors. But honestly, if it wasn't for our citizens who left their homes, some prepared, some not prepared, but in an emergency, got out of their homes and got to safety, did we do it perfectly? Absolutely not. Is there room for improvement? Yes, there absolutely is. And I think those are the kinds of conversations we have going forward in our community. A lot of the feedback I've had from the last two community meetings is some people aren't signed up for Alert Spokane. Some people don't know what the Watch Duty app is. Some people's Alert Spokane app notification system wasn't working. Some silenced them because they got tired of all the notifications. So what I will ask our community is this: if you have not downloaded Alert Spokane or haven't signed up to get notifications, please go to the Spokane County Department of Emergency Management's website, get registered with Alert Spokane, so when these dangerous things happen in your neighborhood, you can be notified. I think because of the work we've done in this arena, a lot of people had warning. In this particular instance, this fire was moving so fast, and you'll hear from our fire teams just how quickly this fire was moving. We didn't get the usual luxury of giving a level 1, then upgrading it to a level 2, and then upgrading it to a level 3. We pretty much started out with a level 2 for the first little bit of the fire, and then it was level 3 throughout the city through the rest of the day, taking a mile at a time of evacuation. So we did the best we could with the technology that we had. So I do want to thank our firefighters. I cannot thank them enough for the work they do. We in law enforcement, we face dangerous things all the time, but I'm here to tell you, I've been close enough in fires like this that I'm just in awe of these men and women who decide they're going to stand there and protect our homes, protect our lives in the face of a fire that is unfeeling, unthinking, it's illogical. It just does what it's going to do. So I tip my cap to you gentlemen. So let's give them a round of applause again. And I think the men and women with the Sheriff's Office, the Spokane Police Department, Airway Heights Police Department, and Liberty Lake, who all jumped in, Cheney PD, all jumped in and helped us knock on 20-something thousand doors in the process of about 5 or 6 hours to get people out and put themselves in danger, trying to make sure you all got out of your home safely and got to the places you needed to be. So before I talk more about recovery, I will say it has been an honor to work with the men and women from Team 7. I feel like you're my friends now. When you work with people as long as you do for 2 weeks, day in, day out, you're making hard decisions, you're taking in all this information, they become your friends. And I'm going to miss seeing them in the morning, frankly. It's hard. And we worked hand in glove with the fire service. And I'm not sure if any of you are aware that, we always have this little back and forth between fire and law enforcement about, who can make worse jokes. But one thing I did learn at the command center is, they always joke about how cops eat donuts, but we can't hold a candle to the number of donuts these firefighters eat on any given day. I'm not going to take the jokes anymore. It's not going to happen. Okay, I'll be serious here for a second. I'm also the director of the Department of Emergency Management in the county. And a lot of people have no idea what the Department of Emergency Management is or does. And I'm here to tell you, we are here to prepare our county, make plans for our county, and then execute the duties of emergency management when it comes to recovery from disasters and large-scale events like we were exposed to this last week. We are a conduit to our citizens for both state grants, federal grants, things that come in from FEMA, State Department of Emergency Management, Homeland Security, things like that. And so we're going to be an integral part in the recovery of Spokane County in getting dollars from those federal agencies, from those state agencies, onto the ground and to services and sometimes dollars that come straight to you as victims of this fire. I could give you a boring 2-hour seminar on all the different programs that we are going to access or at least attempt to access to get these resources on the ground. But I will tell you, we are here to, coordinate with, housing providers. We're here to coordinate with the Red Cross for shelters. We're here to coordinate debris cleanup. We're here to coordinate with the state's team that's here to do a damage assessment for our application for federal assistance. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to be coming in the next few weeks and months that you're going to interact with emergency management or some of our subcontractors to help get you on the path to recovery. I wish it was easy as, hey, and some of you have already experienced this. Your insurance company shows up, they say, yep, this is what your policy covers, and they give you a bunch of money. And I'm here to tell you that's the easiest part of this whole process, because now we have to make sure your home is safe, that all the hazardous materials are out of it, because you can't just go dump hazardous materials anywhere. I know we have representatives from Waste Management here. They don't want that going into their places that we normally dump our trash. There's special places for all of this debris, all of these things that may contain asbestos or other hazardous materials. There's a process to go through to verify the waste that is now in your property that we have to dispose of properly, and we're here to help you navigate that. I will mention that the EPA is on the ground right now trying to identify hazardous materials in your home. They are going to go house to house and test. If for some reason you do not want the EPA to do that for you, which they are doing free of charge, they will do the assessment and they will remove the hazardous household items from your residence for free. But if you don't want the EPA on your property, you can call and opt out. You can call the Department of Health, you can call emergency management and let us know that I don't want them at my house. But then remember, it's your obligation to identify those things and pay for them to be mitigated. The EPA is here to do that for free. And we'll talk a little bit now about kind of the I don't want to say it's the evil side of recovery when I talk about FEMA, because it's a great organization and they operate the way they were designed to operate. And I've told this story a couple of times. but I'm going to tell it to you again because it's a true story. I remember, when I was in my late teens and early 20s, there were a lot of hurricanes down in Florida, Texas. We heard a lot of destructive tornadoes tearing through, the Midwest and places. And you saw on the news back then that, FEMA's coming in and look at all the stuff that FEMA's bringing, all of the money that FEMA was bringing. And I was naive enough to think, that's awful that would happen to that community. And thank goodness the federal government is there and FEMA is there to help these people build their homes again. Right? Is anybody naive with me? I know some of you have heard this before, but I see a couple people nodding their heads. I'm here to break bad news to you because I want you to go into this process with your eyes open. There is not one single entity, FEMA, the county, the state, all of these wonderful charitable organizations that are stepping up to help meet our needs. There's not a single one of them that is going to make us whole again. They're not. They don't have the capacity to. And, to give you a statistic, the average payout from FEMA for homes that qualify is $9,000. Maximum payout, I've heard $42,000. I've also heard $47,000. I don't think it really makes much of a difference when you're talking about, a half to $750,000 of loss. That $5,000 difference, it doesn't quite get people over the hump. So as you're going through this process, be patient with the people who are here to help you navigate this. There is more paperwork involved with this than you can ever imagine. You're going to be asked a bunch of questions about your insurance, what's covered, what's not. You're going to have to fill out a lot of forms about the debris that's removed. You're going to go to a lot of meetings with people. For the best of us, it is a very frustrating and long process. However, we do have a group here in Spokane County. It's called the Spokane Regional Long-Term Recovery Group, and you're going to hear from Mayor Terry Cooper here in a little bit. That is a group that is built around helping you navigate this process. I say they're like social workers for recovery groups. There's going to be somebody there that they're going to take your name, they're going to take your information, and they're going to walk you through this step by step by step. And they're going to help you access the appropriate resources. They can advocate for you, and they can help you get through this. So if you do nothing in the next couple of days, but get your name to the long-term recovery group and get signed up, you will put yourself on fantastic footing to move through this process over the next months and years that it's going to take for us to get your home built back up and as good as we can get it. And again, manage expectations. Nobody is going to be able to make you whole again because we can't replace some of the things that were lost, but even financially, you may be disappointed in exactly what comes to you from government and from some of these charitable organizations, because none of us have the capacity to make you whole again. So with that, I will again thank you for all the cooperation that you gave us on the days of these tragedies. There were a lot of hard decisions that had to be made by fire chiefs, myself, Chief Hall, about when it was actually safe to let you back into your homes, to go in and assess what had happened. I know there are people who are unhappy for some of the decisions we made. All I can say in our defense is your safety and our ability to keep you safe, knowing what we knew, what was going on inside those fire zones and what was coming weather-wise. None of us felt comfortable risking your lives letting you back into a place that wasn't safe. Thankfully, a lot of the weather events we were worried about didn't happen. Team 7's crews came in and did an amazing job of getting those hot spots cooled down, and we got to let you back into your homes to either occupy them or start the recovery process a lot sooner, frankly, than I thought we were going to be able to. So I will say again, thank you for your patience with us. Thank you for your grace. You're going to be required to show each other grace going forward because there's a lot of frustration coming. But let's be good to each other. And again, any information you need, you can reach out to the DEM, you can reach out to our long-term recovery group, you can call me, and we'll see what we can do to get you the information you need. Thank you.
All right, next we have Brooke Beeler, the Regional Director of the Washington State Department of Ecology.
Thanks. Good evening. First and foremost, thanks to all of you for taking the time to come, whether you're online or in person here. And understandably, I imagine you're here because you're trying to navigate what the heck is next for me, my friends, and my family. We have an important piece of that puzzle for you related to hazardous materials removal to talk about, and Sheriff Knowles alluded to that. So in the state of Washington, the Department of Ecology's role in natural disasters is to come in and support communities with removal of hazardous materials. They do exist. They are probably on burned properties, and they might not be apparent. These are paints and propane cylinders, things that may not have flashed off in the fire. It could include lithium-ion batteries. There are a lot of things that could be left over in the ashes that are dangerous to you and pose a health and a risk to you and the environment. So we want to be able to get in there safely, remove those hazards so that you can move on to that next phase. The scale of the fires here in the Spokane area and across the state were much too large for the Department of Ecology to come and staff that and do that work alone. So through our request with the Federal Emergency Management Administration, or FEMA, EPA has been tasked with that work, and they are here in Spokane on scene, as Sheriff Knowles alluded to. They've been here since Sunday, and they're ready to deploy and do that work. I want to make sure people understand what their role is and what the current task is, and we'll definitely be available to answer questions for you afterwards in the cafeteria so you can get some clarity. But EPA crews will be moving through, and again, just looking for those hazardous materials that could be causing an immediate risk or pose an immediate health risk to folks. This is not large-scale debris removal. That would be a next step, or what we want to do is be able to turn your property back over to you so that you can start that next phase of rebuilding and recovery. So again, I wanted to keep it short and make sure that you knew we were available. If you have questions, Brooks Stanfield and I will be over in the cafeteria. He's from EPA Region 10, and he's been working hard with his teams to get people on the ground as soon as this weekend and early next week.
Next, we have Brad Kaiserman with the American Red Cross.
Thank you, Holly. I'm Brad Kaiserman. I'm the Vice President of Disaster Operations and Logistics for the American National Red Cross. I know the sheriff asked how many people had their homes destroyed by the fire. I'm going to ask a seemingly innocuous question. Does anyone in the room know how to quilt? Show of hands. Good. You're all going to be very helpful, because disaster recovery in the United States is a quilt. And if you've listened to what the four speakers before me talked about, there were three basic themes: hope, your health, and help. There is an underlying H of hassle. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But in America, disaster recovery, as Sheriff Knowles said, by design, is a quilt. And that quilt ultimately will not make you whole in the way you were the day before the fire, but you should walk away from here tonight with hope that your life will continue. You will have a new normal. I know this because I do this for a living. Before I did this for the American Red Cross, I was the chief counsel of FEMA and the assistant administrator for recovery. I'm telling you this not because I work for the government anymore. I don't. The American Red Cross is not a government agency. I'm telling this because I want you to understand that the things I'm about to say come from experience. I've also spent the last decade in the American Red Cross, and I've been to the fires in Paradise, California, and Lahaina, the Tubbs fire, and now here. And I want to tell you something about your community. You have an amazing community. You truly do. You already know. You should clap. You should clap. You have an amazing community. And the reason the first message you heard from all the speakers was hope is not some fantasy or something we just say. You're going to hear Team 9, you heard Holly talk about the reception A community going through trauma gave its first responders, including those who came from California and other places, to help. That doesn't happen everywhere. You really are an extraordinary community. I'm from Virginia, where we're still fighting the war of northern aggression. But I'm from Virginia, and I can tell you that as much as I love my state, you're amazing. And I've had the opportunity over the last 10 days to see that. And the reason you should have hope is because of each other. And trust me, I've been to a lot of places, and you all have and are something special. So that's the message of hope. Now I want to turn to health for a second. In 1972, when my grandparents were my age now and I was 10, they lost everything in a hurricane and a flood in coal country, Pennsylvania, Wilkes-Barre, Hurricane Agnes. You have ash, they had mud. In the end, they lost everything, as some of you have lost everything. But unlike today, where there's at least a quilt, in 1972, there was not a quilt. There was nothing. My grandfather died. My grandfather, Ben Levy, died a year after he was displaced from his home, and the death certificate said hardening of the arteries, and I'm going to tell you what I've said every night this week at every community meeting. Ben Levy died of a broken heart. You will not die of a broken heart. If you survive this fire, you will survive and thrive in this recovery. I need you to believe me when I tell you that. That begins with making sure that you proceed safely going forward. Please take EPA up on their offer. I beg you. They know what they're doing. It costs you nothing, and you will be safe. That is the beginning of health. If you're going to go into your property and there's ash on your property, please make sure you're wearing the personal protective equipment that's being provided by a number of nonprofits, including the Red Cross, and that equipment is available outside here tonight. It's available at the fire stations. We've also left it in some of your driveways. Please put that Tyvek suit on if you're going into that ash. Put the Tyvek booties on. The ash is toxic. When you're done, don't get back into your car with those booties on or with that suit on. Take it all off and throw it away. We can give you as many Tyvek suits as you need. Red Cross folks will be going through the neighborhoods. Those kits are available at the fire stations, so you can get more. Just don't take it back in your car. If you have children or grandchildren, do not take them with you to do this. There's a health reason for it, and there's a mental health reason for it. I'm just going to be honest with you. I was 10 years old. My mom and dad took me with them up to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I kind of wish they hadn't. I can't unsee that. Now, it is why I'm in this job. My father had always told me never get good at a cruddy job, and I didn't take his advice. The reason this is a cruddy job is because you see life at its worst, but you also see people at their best. That makes it a great job. So please, use that equipment, that personal protective equipment. Wear a mask. If possible, wear fitting goggles, not just safety glasses, but if that's all you got is safety glasses, wear the safety glasses. That's the health part of this. Let's talk about help for a minute. So first, you've got EPA. We talked about that. The most important thing you will do tonight is this. See this Spokane region long-term recovery group thing here? And there's a little QR code on the bottom. They're going to be handing these out, right? You're handing these out, aren't you? Good. Going to hand these out. Take one. Scan the QR code. Do what it says. Please. Please. Perfect. Please do that. I just talked with the CEO of the group this morning. We're sharing all the information we have where folks have consented, so get that started. And if you do that, they will help you navigate this process. Let me tell you something about my former agency, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. First of all, everybody's talking about FEMA. There is no major disaster declaration for this disaster right now. There's a fire management assistance grant and emergency declaration, which has nothing to do with individual and household assistance. Nothing. So unless and until the president issues a declaration, that help's not available, and you don't need to wait for that. Salvation Army sitting right over there. Where's Samaritan's Purse? Where's Matt? There you are. They're sitting right next to you. I didn't realize that. Matt's right there. Samaritan's Purse is right here. EPA is here. Your sheriff is here. Fire department's here. All these people are here for you. Some people, I've been talking to people all week long and they're like, well, other people need that help more than me. No, they actually don't. They don't. You need that help. And if you don't realize that yet, that's okay, but you will. You'll remember that I said this tonight. I'd start now. Hope is not a plan, but you can plan in a way that will give you hope. So take this help. The nonprofits that are here, our donors have given us money and resources because they want you to have it. They didn't say, well, give it only to certain people. They said, give it to folks who've survived these fires. So I beg of you again, please accept that help. From the Red Cross, if you lost your home in the fire, you're immediately eligible for $600 or so, a little bit higher if you have a larger family size. You might say, well, that's not very much. Well, $600 from us and then money from the state. The state's immediate assistance program began today. There's other funds available. You get some from insurance, right? It's a quilt. You're going to knit that all together, and that's going to be the beginning of the hope. That's what builds that forward. Your insurance settlement, if you have that, that will help. But it's each of these pieces that you sew together, and that takes you to the next day and the next day and the next day. So please, 1-800-RED Cross if you need anything at all, and we'll connect you with all of our partners if you do that. Our financial assistance, we will continue to be at Shadle High School through Sunday. The Disaster Assistance Center is closing, but the superintendent was kind enough to let us stay through Sunday. We'll also be at the Church of the Nazarene, and you can go online to redcross.org, and you can see where we're going to be in and around your community every day. We update it every single day, where we're going to be in the hours. That way you can get financial assistance, you can get these kits, you can also, if you've lost medical equipment, durable medical equipment, your CPAPs, your prescriptions, your eyeglasses, we can replace all of that. It costs you nothing. We'll do all of that. And if you need to talk to somebody, we have great folks who are trained in psychological first aid. There are 300 responders from around the country, American Red Cross volunteers who've come here because they want to help. So I'll end here where I began. 3 messages, I think, from all of us. 1, no one on this stage wants you to be like my grandfather, Ben Levy, and die of a broken heart. No one wants that to happen. I would tell you right now that Sheriff Knowles and I and Chief Vincent, we are in this because we don't want that to happen to you. So, hope. You will recover. Your life will continue, and you will build back, and you will build your next normal. Health. Please do not go into that ash without personal protective equipment. And help. Help. It's a patchwork quilt. So as quilters, you need to knit those patches together, and that's what gets us back to the hope. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And Holly, thanks. You've been wonderful all week. Where am I going?
Next, we have Trevor Von Kampen with Samaritan's Purse.
Hello, and I completely agree. It is absolutely a patchwork and quilt, and no one of us here is going to be able to pull everything together for you, but all of us together, by quilting our abilities and our talents together, we're going to be able to help step by step, piece by piece. And what Samaritan's Purse is here to do, we're here for you, the homeowners, whether your home was completely destroyed in the fire, you have a tree that burned and fell on it, or maybe you have damaged roof or something like that. We're here to help, where we will come alongside you. We've got volunteer teams, we've got team leads, we know how to do, we've got all that protective gear and equipment. We can come onto your property and we can go through that ash potentially. We can go sifting, looking for content, recovery, maybe some valuable jewelry, something that might have survived or made it through the fire, and we've seen miracles happen at other fires, whether through the Palisades or out in Lahaina, and many through the history. Just these devastations have been, but absolutely there's hope. God is faithful, He is present, and we want to be here to partner with you to help give you that hope, to help give you that encouragement that He can carry you through, and we're going to be alongside you as well to help get through that. So we'll be available. You can call us. I will have orange flyers. They're bright orange. They match the little orange on here, but we've got some other team members in bright orange shirts that'll stand out so you can find us easily. We've got flyers that'll help kind of talk about what we're able to do and give a number as well. And those of you online, that number is 833-747-1414. 1234. That number will contact our donor ministries group, and they'll be able to help take that account where we can then get your information, and you'll be in our system where we'll reach out to be able to schedule and come out to help serve you in the time as we become available to access that footprint. We're 100% with fire departments and everyone here. Safety, safety, safety. We don't want to go in there until we know it's as safe for us as possible to access your property's footprint, and then to make sure we're suited up and equipped, and we would have that for you. If you are there to join us and you want to help go through and look for things, we have that equipment to help suit you up as well, to make sure that you are safe and that we can properly approach that and just be with you as you process the impact and loss of your home as well. If your home wasn't entirely damaged, again, maybe a tree fell or just other stuff like that, we do have teams that are equipped to do chainsaw work to be able to cut those trees down to make it safe. Or if we needed to damage to your roof or something, if there's a hole, we'd be able to go up on your roof to do a tarp, temporary fix until insurance is able to come through. We want to make it as livable for you as possible if your home is accessible. But if not, we want to help you process through that impact. So we're here. My name is Trevor Von Kampen. I'll be out in that area as well. And you'll be able to find me and a couple of my team members, and we'll be available to talk about that more and answer questions as needed. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Terry Cooper with the Long-Term Recovery Group.
Good evening. I'm Mayor Terry Cooper and the mayor of Medical Lake. So the reason that's important is 3 years ago we had the Gray and Oregon Road fire, but we're here tonight for you. I'm the founder of the Spokane Region Long-Term Recovery Group, and it was because there wasn't one that existed when we had our fire. That was in 2023. We're still in recovery, but we're 90% built back. We're resilient, we're strong, so is Spokane, and I want you to know that there's hope. As everyone's been saying, but it is true, and I've been living it every day for the last 3 years. And it's remarkable what can happen when a community comes together, when people care, and everyone's willing to contribute something. I know you're hurting. I know you're bewildered. I know you're shocked, and I know that you're trying to make sense of it all. I know that you didn't come here to hear a bunch of government jargon. And I know that you're in crisis. And really all you want to know is, how am I going to build back? Can you just tell me what to do next? And I get that. That's exactly why you're here. And that's probably why a lot of people are not here. It's hard to hear the forensics of the fire and who's here and who's doing what and how, and you just want to know. All I know is I can't think straight, and I need to know what to do tomorrow. So that's what the Long-Term Recovery Group is about. We will walk with you through this. You'll hear the same message over and over and over, because we don't know at what point it's going to click and go, yeah, that's the thing I need today. So that's what we want to do. Life will never be the same. This event will ever be a marker in your life. My husband and I had a fire in 2013, and it's like, was that before the fire or after the fire? Even still, but did that happen before the fire? It's just a thing in your life. But life is good. Life is good, and life was good for us after, and we made it, and you will too. The Spokane region is known for its kindness. We are known for our generosity, and we're known for our hospitality. When we had the Gray Road fire, it was the same thing. We had our leadership team was not from California, they were from Oregon, I think. But nonetheless, and everybody who came to respond, the Samaritan's Purse, the Red Cross, everybody who came could not believe the kind of community we had in Medical Lake and Elk. So I led the recovery in both of those efforts. And it was the same thing. And we're hearing the same thing now, because you know what? That's who we are. We're the Greater Spokane, and that's who we are. We do love each other very much. Even if we're like sisters and brothers, we fight like crazy, but we love each other. Don't mess with my family. And that's who we are. So where to begin? The road will be long. It will not be, you will not be alone. And there are days it will not be easy. But faith in God, our faith in each other, our faith in our community, that life will get better again. So we learned a lot of lessons along the way, and I'm going to share a few of those that are your next steps, not all the steps that are going to happen along the way. But register with a long-term recovery group. We're case management. Why are we unique from other? You'll hear case management a lot. There's other organizations, a lot of nonprofit groups. They're going to want you to register. They also have case managers. That's okay. But the long-term recovery group exists to be the liaison between all of those other agencies. We are the liaison to the government, government. We're the liaison to emergency management. We are a liaison. I'm talking with senators and commissioners, and it just so happens that I'm uniquely positioned that we were able to do that. And I think we already, since the Gray Road fire, this response was better. I could think of 10 things off the top of my head right now that happened better because of what we went through. So lives were saved. You're here, and we're going to make it because change happened. So register for that long-term recovery group. We can act as a liaison, as I said, between government, between all the nonprofits, between the NGOs, between the faith community, and all of those things, and that's what we plan to do. Asbestos testing and lab results before debris removal. So EPA will come in. That does not mean that once they say, we took out those toxic things, that's just the toxic things on their list. You have an entire stack of ash that is a concentrated mass of toxicity. It is not safe, and it must be tested, and that has to be done by certified people. They put out a grid, they take samples, it goes off to a lab. We're working on how to streamline that. Have a lot of folks in government, they're saying, what steps can we bypass to make it faster? How can we connect with more labs across the nation so we can get those tests back faster? You cannot remove your debris until that test comes back and you know whether it's clean or hot. If it's hot, that means it's positive, and it can only be cleaned up, again, by a licensed certified person, but there's other people coming in from out of state who can help do that. And it's got to be packaged up. So that asbestos debris is going to go to the Graham Road landfill out past Fairchild Air Force Base. If it's clean, it will go to the other two landfills, one on the north and one in the valley. Do not take your debris to the waste energy treatment plant. You will not be able to dump your debris there. So all of that is really important, and those are first steps. Those are the things that you must know and you must do. And if you don't have your asbestos test in hand, that report, you won't be dumping anything. And this is really important, and it's so bureaucratic, and I hate it, but it's just the way it is. So that test also comes through Spokane Clean Air. You will get an NOI, Notice of Intent to Build. That means that I got tested, I took care of it, my land is clean, I'm ready to rebuild, I can get a building permit. You have to have that in hand to get a building permit. So don't think, my house was built in the 90s, I know there's no asbestos, I'm just going to clean it up and I'm going to go get a permit. You will hurt yourself. That's a really long process to try to prove that after the fact. It really is, and we're still working with people 3 years later because they didn't follow those steps. So help yourself by following those rules, and we can help you navigate that. So properly disposing of in the right place. And then many groups are going to be here to help you over the next 3 to 6 weeks. Most of these folks are leaving. So this was something I learned as the mayor. 5 to 6 weeks, they all pack up their little kit bag and they go back to where they came from or respond to another disaster, and you're standing there going, okay, now what do we do? Well, now we have a long-term recovery group, and we're going to help you. So just know that take advantage of these resources while they're here, and receive the help. You need their help, and we want to help you. Be careful about signing onto too quickly with contractors who promise fast, easy, and low-cost solutions, and don't worry, I know how to work around the system and I can make this for you, and just sign over your insurance check to me and I'm going to make it just fine. Do not do that. And lastly, I'll say work closely with your insurance company, and the insurance commissioner, Patty Curter, and I have worked on some legislation to help improve this in the future, but right now they have a team there that is, my mind just went blank, Consumer Protection Division. Call them. You can say, insurance company, email me a copy of my policy. I read it. Looks like you should helping me. Doesn't look like you are. You can call that Consumer Protection Division. They will actually read your policy, translate it for you. They can contact your insurance company and they'll say, gee, I hear you're not going to cover that. It looks like you should. That's not very good, since we're the authority in this state that oversees this kind of work if you want to have business here. So they will help you. They do have a great team and they really do their job very well. And so pardon me if I talk too long, but all of this, reach out to us at the Spokane Regional Long-Term Recovery Group. We will have flyers out there. All you do is do the info and within a couple weeks, as we're standing things up, we're going to be calling every one of you and saying, hey, how's it going? Where are you stuck? What's your next step? How can we help you? And you can reach out to us again and again through that if you need to. Say, here's my question. So we're here for you, and we're going to be here for you because we are the long-term recovery group. So 3 and 5 years from now, we're still going to be here. Hopefully you'll all be, happy in your home in the next, 18 months or so. Most people were. I want you to know that. 75% of the people that we worked with were back in their homes in about 18 months. So we're even going to try and streamline more things, but just know it seems long, but it's going to be all right, and we're with you, and we care. Thank you.
Now we have Ryan Swanson, the long-term analyst with California Team 7.
Good evening, Ryan Swanson. Part of my job on the team is to do fire analysis, and I hope to give you some data to give you some answer some questions. Next slide, please. So I'm not telling you guys anything that you don't know. All of the West Coast, the state of Washington, is in a drought. 53% of your normal snowfall this year, and then a lack of precipitation this spring, next slide, leads to very, very dry vegetation out there. And we call vegetation in fires, we call it fuel. And then the next thing that I look at when I want to do fire analysis is I want to see what the weather was or upcoming weather will be, so that I can see how the fire is going to move across the landscape. This slide right here is what the weather was. The arrow is pointing to August 1st. The blue line is temperature. The green line is relative humidity. And so you can see coming into August 1st, you had very hot temperatures and low relative humidity. Next slide, please. There's the dry vegetation. That is fuel for the fire. So we take that into account. Next slide. And then I also wanted to take a look at, this is the winds on August 1st. 31 mile an hour sustained winds with gusts to 37 miles per hour. Next slide. So all of that we put into these charts. This chart right here, it has a lot of information going on, but what it is, it's a 10-hour fuel moisture chart. And a 10-hour fuel is a vegetation that drives fire on the West Coast. So we look at that to see how dry it is. Breaking down this chart, along the bottom, that red line there is 20 years worth of data, and that is the driest that those 10-hour fuels have been in that 21 years of data. The black line just above it is the current year. And so you can see that the fuel moisture, we call it, is coming down all the way, and it is touching that 21-year low, meaning that we were setting new records and tying records of how dry the fuel is. The dashed line is the forecast line of where the fuel moisture could potentially go over the next couple days. Next slide, please. This slide is inverse. This is something that we call an energy release component. And basically what it does is it takes into account the weather that we're having and have had, and the fuel moisture and how that all correlates, and the amount of energy that the vegetation will then release when it is burning. So now this red line across the top is 21 years of maximums that has ever been. And that black line you can see approaches the top in the forecast period. This forecast period was just after the fire, when we had the red flag warnings the following week of the fire. And so we were setting new records of energy release component. And real quick, that energy release component, basically what it's telling us is that the fire is going to put out so much energy, we measure it in BTUs, that our water from our hoses and the water from the helicopters and the fire retardant doesn't have enough heat sink capacity to absorb the energy that the fire is putting off, and it becomes extremely difficult to suppress the fire. Next slide, please. So what I did then is I took all of that information and I put it on the landscape and I ran some fire models. And so in the pink here, those are the current fire perimeters today. And then the orange, the red, and the yellows are the ignitions that I modeled on the computer. These ignitions, I simulated as best I could the start times to match the start times of the fires. And what this is showing is that the environment that day and continuing into the week that followed was so volatile that if there was no suppression action taken on the fires, this is where the footprint of the fires could potentially have gotten to in 24 hours. And so you can see how volatile it was. Looking up on the Autumn Lane where the fire projection run went, the 24-hour fire projection modeled over 17,000 acres burned in 24 hours. And the fire was held thanks to the suppression efforts for the first responders, as well as all the hard work that went in once the incident management team got here. The Autumn Lane fire was held to 5,700 acres, give or take. And then the other numbers up there were if the fires had been allowed to burn that entire footprint, how many structures were in that modeled footprint versus how many structures actually were. Thank you for your time. I hope that helps.
Derek Stidley, Operations Section Chief with California Team 7.
Good evening. I was told that I was going to come here and tell the story of the Autumn Lane fire and just give a situational update of where it stands now. If you could keep that previous slide back up for a little bit, please. And I saw this slide and I thought I should probably introduce myself a little bit better than I had planned. The people on the incident management team come from departments all across the nation. It's not just, we don't do the incident management team full time. We have day jobs. And my day job is battalion chief in Tulare County Fire Department, which is, if you're not familiar with that area, Central California, very rural, ag-driven economy. And the structure of that fire department is very similar to District 9. I'm a battalion chief with a fire department that's very similar to District 9. About 3 years ago, we had a fire in my first due area that ended up burning an entire community. Just up the hill from where I live. It was my neighbors, it was my first due, and fast forward to 3 years later, coming here, when we got this call, we were in Baker City, Oregon. We got told that we were about to staff a fire. Last minute, we got called, you're going to Spokane. I got in my truck, started driving this way. These uniformed people over here were in the midst of the battle of their lives. I turned on a scanner on my phone, Bluetoothed it to my radio, and I listened to their radio traffic the entire drive up here. I can tell you guys from the time I started listening to their radio traffic, as somebody who has walked in your shoes and as somebody who has lived in your shoes, these uniformed personnel over here did a heck of a job. An absolute heck of a job. And this picture tells that story. So from the time we took over, I got here about 9 o'clock that night, the first day, made contact with some personnel on the Autumn Lane fire, and immediately started to come up with a plan. What am I going to do tomorrow? What personnel am I going to need? What are we going to do? And the next day I came out, and the firefighting efforts of your local firefighters had stopped the spread on the Old Shells fire. They had stopped the spread on the Fairview fire, and they had almost stopped the spread on the Autumn Lane fire when winds pushed the fire across the river and established at the bottom of Lookout Mountain. Throughout that first day that we took over the fire, the Autumn Lane fire was hung up on the ridge line coming down from Lookout back down towards the river. And it was in a position that would require what we call underslung line, which is very difficult to fight. It takes a lot of people, and it's usually not successful. And so we did everything we could to put some retardant on it, to hold it in place, and to start working to protect the structures up on River Bluff. And towards the end of the day, it worked throughout the day. That retardant line held. We were able to get some personnel up to River Bluff, start working around those structures. And then right as evening came, the downslope winds came, it pushed it across the retardant, and that entire night, fire continued to burn towards underneath River Bluff along 291. Night shift had a heck of a night. District 9 sent some more folks out to help, folks that had been working, as the sheriff said, and as Chief Vinci said, 36 hours at this point. Woke back up, came out, tried to help us out. Did point protection all night, which means they were parked at structures, protecting those structures as fire came around. The next morning, we were able to assemble one of the most impressive firefighting efforts I've seen today. We had 9 air tankers up at one point, 9 air tankers in orbit, dropping that line. If you look at the Autumn Lane, that line that goes across the top, and you can see from this graph what it would have done were it not for that. 9 air tankers, 3 hotshot crews, numerous dozers, numerous local firefighters, all the resources that came in. By the end of that night, I was able to send a text into the management team organization and said, it's wrapped. The collaborative effort that went in that day was amazing, and it was a real sense of pride that I was able to say, we wrapped it. My phone went crazy. Everybody said, do you mean the whole fire? Yes, the whole fire. So fast forward to now, that's the context. So fast forward to now, like I said, the other 2 fires, spread was stopped. The last 2 weeks, our crews have been working on keeping it within that area, making sure that any winds come don't spread those fires because you can see what they can do. And also making the area safe so that you guys can get back in. As our Red Cross personnel so passionately said, health is the first part of it, and so we wanted to make sure that it's safe for you to go back in. As of now, the Autumn Lane fire has held in that perimeter since that second day, and crews are continuing to make sure that that area is safe for you guys to go back into, and we've actually gotten to the point now where crews are cleaning up. They're pulling stuff out, and all of the infrared imagery that we're getting, along with boots on the ground, are showing us that we're getting to that point now where it's safe to go back in now. And one of the other big things that I wanted to emphasize is, in order to do that, we used a drone with infrared to fly over every single one of your houses on all 3 fires, pinpoint which ones had heat with the infrared, and then that allowed us to map exactly where every structure was that had heat so that we can go in there and overhaul and make sure that it was safe to go back in. And that was completed about 2 days ago now. And so an amazing collaborative effort overall, and I'm pleased to announce now that all those efforts have kept that from happening, as that shows there, and we've been able to make it safe to go back in. Thank you.
We'll close with Nick Elmquist, the incident commander for California Team 7.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'm the last speaker, so I'll keep it short so you could meet up with the folks that have the information that you need. But I just wanted to highlight a few things, take the opportunity. This has been, as you've heard tonight, a very strong cooperative effort from the initial attacks moving through to today. I wanted to take the public opportunity to thank our agency administrator from Washington, DNR, Tim Love, who's here. Thanks, Tim. Chief Vinci, Chief Noakes, We meet every morning. There's 3 other fire chiefs, and we sit around the table at 8 o'clock. And although that, we were delegated the authority to take command of the fire that second day, August 2nd, it really has been a team effort. And your local folks, they know the local problems. This was a very complex incident, and together we navigated it as best as we could. And it's unfortunate that the structure loss was what it was, but as you saw, is just terrible conditions. But I think that we were able to work through a very complex incident, and we're in a stage where you could move through the recovery for those that have to do that. I also want to thank the sheriff. The sheriff's also there every day. Right after that meeting, we have evacuation meetings that's led by him and a lot of our cooperators in law enforcement, and collectively we come to an agreement around a table of what the best decision is for that day, and we constantly reevaluate and meet the next day. And the last, I just want to say thank you. That night we showed up at Mount Spokane High School. The very next day, a group of ladies came and they started making lemonade for the firefighters. And by that night, there was a whole table. It looked like a street fair out on the sidewalk at Mount Spokane. The next night, there was food trucks. And in football, they talk about the 13th man. And these people were the 13th men for the firefighters on the ground. So we travel a lot around this country, and we've never seen the outpouring of support that we've seen through Spokane. We've been at the fairgrounds once we left Mount Spokane because we kind of grew out of there. And it's just continued. People are bringing in trailers. We've had local people that we've essentially identified to manage all the donations. And you just see the folks that work hard day and night come back in, and it just really lifts their spirits. So it's been an honor from us at Team 7 to work with these outstanding individuals and to work for an outstanding community. So best wishes, and I'm confident that you guys will move through the recovery phase because you got great leadership here. Thanks. Have a good night.
All right, with that, we're going to move to our breakouts and question and answer. So if you don't mind, speakers and non-speakers, if you would go ahead out in the hallway and head to your designated areas. And while they do that, I will explain to you all where to find these folks if you have questions. If you would like to speak to any of the elected officials or representatives of elected officials, when you leave and go to the left, they'll be in that entryway area close to where you came in. At map number 1, again, if you go down the hall and there'll be people directing you, but at map number 1 will be the local fire districts. At map number 2 will be the sheriff's office. And then at maps 3, 4, and 5 in the cafeteria will be members of our California Interagency Management Team 7. And if you have questions for any of the nonprofits or volunteer organizations, they will all be at different tables in that cafeteria area. So again, exit and go left and you will see all of them. I just want to thank you all again for joining us tonight, and just know that you will stay in our thoughts and prayers long after we leave here. Thank you.